All right, y'all, welcome to the show. I hope everybody out there is having a great day. Prepare yourself, man. Pucker your booty hole because it's about to get real in this bitch. So in a little bit, MAGA's war boner is completely and utterly spiraling out of control. Wait until you see the videos and the comments I have for you. Absolutely crazy stuff. Then we'll get to a woman is arrested on camera for her anti-war free speech. She was protesting the regime change in Venezuela. As soon as she's done talking, thugs arrest her. Incredible, incredible stuff. We'll talk about that. I also have the dark new Venezuela conspiracy theory that they don't want you to see. We will entertain it. We will determine whether or not we think it's accurate. And then also later on, Jon Stewart is completely dumbfounded at the sheer idiocy of not only Trump's warmongering, but the arguments he makes while warmongering. And then Ahmed shits the bed and jumps the shark and supports the murdering of innocent people in order for the U.S. to steal resources. And Trump is low-key, but actually not even so low-key, high-key panicking in a secret Republican meeting. In fact, I'm not sure he knew that cameras were on for this thing. He was talking like there were no cameras in the room. So there's a lot of stuff to get to. You guys know the drill. Everybody, please do me a big favor. Subscribe to the channel. Also, click that bell icon so you get a notification every single time a video drops. Remember, guys, YouTube is not very fond of these political channels because we're a wee bit controversial. So a good way to get around the algorithm is to just click that bell icon so you get a notification every single time we post something. Thank you, by the way, to everybody who supports the show on Patreon. I could not do it without you. If you'd like to support the show, that link is below. You can also tip with that thanks button on YouTube. Remember, y'all, this is real independent media. I've never talked to an advertiser, never done an ad read, never talked to a billionaire, never talked to a government or a PAC or anything like that. And I'm very proud of that, and you guys make it possible to keep this show going. You could also support Crystal, Kyle, and Friends on Substack. Sign up there. We have Graham Plattner on this week to talk about Venezuela. Graham Plattner really came out aggressively against this war, and we're going to have him on to talk about that on Crystal, Kyle, and Friends. And, of course, go sub to the Corn's World YouTube channel. We do live Kyle and Corn episodes every Monday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You don't want to miss those. Those are a hell of a lot of fun. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and jump right in. So every time I think this regime can't stoop any lower and the president himself can't stoop any lower, he somehow finds a way to, come up with clever and new and innovative ways to be the single worst person on planet Earth, the single most corrupt person on planet Earth. So take a look at this. Aaron Rupar posted this last night. Trump said the following: I am pleased to announce that the interim authorities in Venezuela will be turning over between 30 and 50 million barrels of high-quality sanctioned oil to the United States of America. This oil will be sold at its market price, and that money will be controlled by me as President of the United States of America to ensure it is used to benefit the people of Venezuela and the United States. Oh my God, bro. I have asked Energy Secretary Chris Wright to execute this plan immediately. It will be taken by storage ships and brought directly to unloading docks in the United States. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Okay, so a couple things. First of all, the idea that Donald Trump is going to personally control the Venezuela oil money slush fund is beyond comical because we already know Jared Kushner, Steve Witkoff, Uday and Kusei Trump, his idiot sons, Trump himself. They are cashing in 1,000 different ways on being in the White House. They're violating the emoluments clause on a daily basis. They're making money from foreign governments, money from foreign billionaires. He, of course, has his crypto exchange. He has his fucking crypto shitcoin, meme coin bullshit where he robbed his own supporters. He's made $5 billion off the White House. He's making tens of millions or hundreds of millions off of Saudi Arabia. He's got business deals in fucking Vietnam and Oman and other places. Obviously, there's deep business ties with Israel. So for him to say, don't worry, I'll take care of it. Just give me the personal bank account and I'll... who thinks he's not going to take a cut? You would have to be the most naive person on earth to go, oh yeah, that's all on the up and up. Also, he talks about, we're going to do what's right by the people of Venezuela and America. You're already not even doing right by the people of America. You refuse to extend Affordable Care Act subsidies, which means healthcare premiums are going to triple. So you're jacking up health insurance premiums in this country right now to an unaffordable level, right? You froze 94 million pounds of food aid that was supposed to go to food banks during the holidays, so people starved. And I'm supposed to believe you're going to look out not only for the people of America, who you're already not looking out for, but also the people of Venezuela. I mean, this is so dishonest, it's unbelievable. When he goes, we're going to take the oil, that's what we're going to do. That is an admission. I care about U.S. oil companies who paid to get me in office, and I care about the billionaires in this country. That's who I'm serving, the Epstein class. And now, I'll control the bank account, but don't worry, I'm going to do right by the people of Venezuela. What a sick, sick joke. The other thing is, guys, we just got word they're trying to enforce this embargo on any exports and imports from Venezuela until the U.S. can steal all the oil, basically. And we just learned that Russia sent a submarine to protect one of their shadow tankers. So in other words, there's oil from Venezuela that's supposed to go to Russia. It's on a Russian shadow tanker. Russia sent a submarine to say, we're going to escort you through this U.S. embargo. And that's a way for Russia to say, hey, look, I see what you're doing here. It's cute. You kidnapped a president. You're trying to steal the country. We're still going to get our oil and back the fuck off. Okay? That's what the message Russia is sending is. So Trump goes, no. Enforce the embargo. Continue to enforce the embargo. And so now you have Russian submarines trying to protect an oil tanker that the U.S. is now using air power to try to seize. Another international crisis, anybody? Jesus fucking Christ. Who's going to blink first? And for him to come out and say, I'll control the slush fund, make it go to my bank account, I'll do right by everybody. This is like beyond comic book villain shit. This is beyond comic book villain shit. All of Steve Witkoff's business deals around the world, foreign policy is now directly entangled with his own bank account and Trump's own bank account. They are taking a cut of every deal they make. This is, without a doubt, the most corrupt regime I've ever seen by far, and it's not even close. But we also had this. This is just an incredible headline. Hang this in the fucking Louvre, as far as I'm concerned. Reuters says, U.S. may subsidize oil companies to rebuild Venezuela's energy infrastructure, Trump says. So, in other words, the U.S. is going to do socialism to defeat socialism. We're going to do a little bit of socialism in Venezuela to defeat socialism in Venezuela. Do you see how this has absolutely nothing to do with ideology? This has nothing to do with the drug war as they're pretending it is. This has nothing to do with Maduro being a bad guy or a dictator or whatever. Do you understand that this is all about rank, profit, and power, and imperialism, and colonialism? We're so principally opposed to socialism that we're going to do some socialism in Venezuela as long as it benefits Trump and U.S. oil companies and the billionaires. Just absolutely fucking ridiculous, man. Absolutely ridiculous. All right, more. So with this raid, we also learned a 45-year-old single mother was killed by Donald Trump strikes in Venezuela while she was trying to get her daughter to safety. So a 45-year-old single mother was murdered by Trump's illegal raid, which kidnapped and abducted a sovereign, independent president of a foreign country. This is just absolutely disgusting. We also heard about an 80-year-old grandma who was murdered in the bombings. I've read numbers as low as 40 people killed. I've read numbers as high as 80 people killed. But a bunch of innocent people were killed. And then here's Trump going, I'll take the money. I'll have a slush fund. Don't worry. I'll handle the money real nice for the people of Venezuela and America. Because, you know, he's totally, completely selfless. All right, how about this one? Unbelievable. After months of propaganda claiming Maduro is the head of the dangerous drug smuggling cartel, the U.S. government has admitted it was all a ruse in order to kidnap a sitting head of state. So the New York Times has a piece. Justice Department drops claim that Venezuela's Cartel de los Soles is an actual group. Last year, before capturing President Nicolas Maduro, the Trump administration designated a Venezuelan slang term for drug corruption in the military as a terrorist organization and said he led it. So they go, oh, we got him because he's a drug smuggler. He's an international drug smuggler. He's the head of a cartel. And then as soon as they arrest him and they have him in custody, they drop the claim that he's the head of a cartel. And they go, oh, by the way, that cartel doesn't even exist. We made it up. And by the way, you can't say like, oh, this is surprising. Ryan Grimm and many other people were reporting that there is no Cartel de los Soles, that it's made up, that it's a totally bullshit argument in order to give them a half-assed justification to go in there and kidnap them. And that's exactly what happened. The Justice Department has quietly dropped its claim that Nicolas Maduro led a real drug cartel called Cartel de los Soles, backing away from a central assertion promoted by the Trump administration. A revised indictment now says that the term refers not to an organization, but to a culture of corruption and patronage tied to drug money within Venezuela's military and government. The original claim, echoed by the Treasury and State Departments and by Marco Rubio, had treated the phrase as a formal cartel. While prosecutors still accuse Maduro of drug trafficking, they no longer describe him as leading an actual cartel. So look, what I've been saying, guys, is if this is not a show trial, if this is a real trial, Maduro is going to be found not guilty. They don't have it on him. They don't have anything on him. Now, look, it's possible they find a way to muck up some semblance of some charges that they might have something on him for, but the whole thing is a farce. You can't kidnap a sitting president of a foreign country and drag him to this country to have a trial here. In the same way, China can't kidnap fucking Trump or J.D. Vance and drag them to the Chinese judicial system. This is comical. This is comical. But he has a real defense attorney also. He has a real defense attorney. And so, when you have a real defense attorney and the government's case is fucking trash, I think I know what's going to happen, which is why I fear what they'll do is basically say, oh no, we're going to put him in front of a military tribunal now. That's what I fear. That was the trick that Bush used during the war on terror, is for all the people at Guantanamo Bay and Abu Ghraib. They would say, oh no, we're holding if they get any sort of trial, it's going to be a military tribunal, which they can do more of a show trial if it's a military tribunal, right? You don't have the same rights under a military tribunal as you would under the proper judicial system. And so that's the thing I fear. The other thing is, look at their track record so far. There aren't even any more good lawyers left in this DOJ because it's been fucking ridiculous from day one. Look at all the shit they tried to get Kilmar Abrego Garcia on. It didn't fucking work. Look at all the court orders that they violated. All that's left is a bunch of Yahoo idiots who don't know the law, don't know how to build an actual case. And so it's a very weird situation to be in because he could actually just get off. He could just get off. He could just win, right? That's a real possibility. But of course, I fear they have some sort of tricks up their sleeve because they used a whole bunch of tricks to illegally deport a bunch of innocent immigrants. And so they've worked around the law in 1,000 different ways. I wouldn't be surprised if they find a way around the law this time too. But if it's a real trial and not a show trial and not a military tribunal, I think he'll actually get off. The fact that they dropped their number one charge against him. So in other words, they're admitting the whole rationale for the invasion and the regime change and the kidnapping, the entire rationale we're admitting was built on a lie. And then Trump goes out there and says, it's the oil, all about the oil. Yet again admitting it's a lie. So it's just incredible, man. And everybody knows Trump pardoned the former president of Honduras. That guy trafficked $20 billion worth of cocaine into this country. And then he got fucking pardoned by Trump. So you can't do that and then turn around and go, the drug smugglers are the problem. We got to kidnap Maduro for that reason. It's a sick joke. It's a sick joke. In the same way that these right-wingers complain about Somali fraud in Minnesota, and then Trump pardoned 7, 8, 9 different colossal white-collar fraudsters who did way more fraud quantitatively than any Somalis in Minnesota. So it is just absurd. This is absurd. So, I'm literally at a loss for words at this point. When you look at the fact that the president of the United States is saying, I'm going to personally control the oil and the Venezuelan slush fund account. That is insane to me. That's insane. And so, for the love of God, media, Democrats, wakey, any Republican, all 7 Republicans in the country with a fucking conscience, wakey. We're now so depraved and we've gone so far back in time, we're so primitive now that Trump is doing 1700 style, 1800 style imperialism and colonialism. He thinks he has the divine right of kings. That's where we're at now. And everybody's just acting like this is normal politics. This is not even close to normal politics. Could you imagine George W. Bush said, of course we invaded for the oil in Iraq. And by the way, I'm going to personally control the oil money fund from Iraq. The slush fund. It's mine now. And I'll decide, don't worry, I'll do right by the Iraqi people and the U.S. people, but I'm going to control it. Everybody be like, oh my God, he admitted it. Lock him up, arrest him, impeach him. What is this? This is crazy. But this is where we're at, y'all. This is where we're at. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.